Adora's phone vibrated on the kitchen counter, slicing through the quiet home of her tiny Lagos apartment. The loud sound of a distant damper horn outside, the faint hiss of her electric kettle, all faded as she turned to look at the screen. An unfamiliar number. She hesitated. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Something about that number. It wasn't just unfamiliar. It somehow felt intrusive and unwelcome. Still, she answered. Hello? Her voice was cautious, edged with the weariness of a Lagos living. A pause. Then a low, raspy voice crackled through. Is this Adaora? She straightened. Something about that tone pulled at a corner of her memory she'd long shot away. Yes, she replied, gathered. This is your father, Chukwuemeka. The air left her lungs. 10 years. 10 years of silence. 10 years of birthdays missed. School fees unpaid. Nights she cried, asking why he never came back. I don't understand. Why now? Ada's voice cracked, more from disbelief than sorrow. I'm sick, Ada. It's serious. I want to see you, please. Then silence. She hung up before she could say more. Heart pounding like a restless talking drum. She stared at the phone in her palm as if it might scream the truth she spent a decade avoiding. The silence that followed was deafening. Adora stood still, the kettle now shrieking behind her, steam curling in the corners of her small flat. She unplugged it with trembling fingers and dropped into a chair like her bones had folded. Chukwuemeka, her father. That name had become taboo, a locked drawer in her heart she never opened. She opened her phone's gallery. No photos of him, not one. Her childhood was built around absence, like a chair always left empty at the table. For 10 years, Ada believed he abandoned them. A man simply vanished, replaced by unpaid bills and a mother's quiet strength. But now the past has come knocking. She reached for her phone again, hovering over her mother's name. Should I tell her? Ask her? But she couldn't. Not yet. She stood, walked to the mirror, that small cracked one by the kitchen sink. She looked at herself. Same sharp jawline, same dark eyes. His eyes. Maybe the truth was always hiding in her reflection. That night she couldn't sleep. The call played on loop in her mind. What if she didn't go? What if he died and took the answers with him? Was it forgiveness she wanted? Closure? Revenge? No, she wanted the truth. The next morning, she texted her supervisor that she was taking emergency leave. Then she reached under her bed for the bag she hadn't touched since NYSC. Packing was mechanical. Folding her clothes felt like folding her anger. Zipping her bag also felt like zipping her pain. Every movement summoned memories. The night he left her, her mother's tight smile, the unanswered prayers. When her mother called that evening, Adora said, I'm visiting a friend for the weekend. She wasn't ready for her mother's questions, or worse, her silence. The flight to the east was a blur. From the booming chaos of Lagos to the still, humming green sound of the east. She completed the final part of her journey by bus, her thoughts louder than the Afrobeats playing in the back. She stepped off at the edge of her father's village, the air thick with heat, wood smoke, and something she couldn't name. Maybe memory. Children ran barefoot down a dusty path. Women squatted over fire, pounding yam, laughing. Life was simple here, raw and unfiltered. Then she saw him. He sat on a stool under a mango tree near his house, freer than she remembered. Time has reduced him, not just in body, but in presence. Still, his eyes, they hadn't changed. Brown, intense, searching. Adani, he whispered, my firstborn. She didn't respond. She just stood there, arms crossed, holding back tears that didn't know whether to fall from grief or rage. Later, inside his small old house, they sat in silence. Why now? She asked, barely above a whisper. He took a breath, chest rattling. I was afraid, afraid of the shame, the mistakes I made. She clenched her fist. What mistakes? You left us. His eyes darkened. They were debts, Ada. People I owed. Dangerous people. I thought leaving would protect you and your mother. I sent money when I could, but it was never enough. She shook her head. We didn't need your protection. We needed your presence. Over the next few days, Adaora helped him with small things, boiling herbs, fetching water, reading his Bible aloud when his coughs got worse. She said little, he said less, but the silence between them had softened. One night, while sleeping under his bed, her hand struck something solid, a box. She pulled it out, wooden, dusty, and tied with string ropes. Inside were photos, one of her as a toddler on his lap, another of her mother smiling, eyes bright with hope, and letters. So many letters. Some were to her unsent, torn at the edges, but one was different, older, folded twice. Then again, it was to her mother, dated 8 years ago. Nkechi, if you are reading this, it means I couldn't come home. I never stopped loving you or our daughter. There are things I can't say yet. Things about the child you don't know. His name is Obina. Adora's breath caught. A child? Her father had another child? She sat outside his house. The village bathed in moonlight. Her father's breath rasped behind her inside. Tears streamed down from her cheeks. Her whole life, built on half truths. Then her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Adora, we need to talk about your father and what really happened. She stared at it, her heart racing. What else didn't she know? Was Obina alive? Was he nearby? Was he in danger too? The past wasn't done with her yet. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of the story. It was only the beginning.